The biggest tragedy of our lives is our unlived lives. We spend we spend so much time trying to find a way to live that isn't offensive to anybody else. We try so hard to find a way to live that fits in to the structures of the world as it is represented at that particular time. We live as if we have an unlimited amount of time on this planet. We live as if we are infinite or eternal. And the thought of being ourselves, we just procrastinate that thought of being ourselves. Oh, I'll there'll be time. There'll be time to do this. And days, months, years, decades go by of you saying there'll be time for me to be myself. Eventually comes to a point where you either have people either have a near death experience, some sort of traumatic event, when they realize uh, I'm not infinite, I'm not immortal. I don't have this unlimited amount of time to just sit here and waste time now. Because for some reason, I think down the line, I'll have time to be me. I'll have time to do the things that I actually want to do. Or with some people, you just die before you get the chance to realize the fact that time here is not guaranteed. Once you kind of sit back and realize the fact that I've been living my life as if there'll be time later. And by the time that you realize that I need to be myself, I need to do things that make me happy, time's gone, time's run out. I I was just thinking about this today when fall into these pitfalls. There's people in this world who represent something that you want. Whether you think that person has a lot of style, that person's really cool, that person is extremely intelligent in the things that you are interested in, whether it be sports, art, music. Like that person represents the pinnacle of what you think is cool, and you spend so much of your time trying to get noticed by that person. And I caught myself doing it today. That you spend so much time, you want to be noticed by that person so bad, you want to be in their life so bad, you change the way you live, act, feel, and talk so you can get on that person's radar, to hope someday that you can just be in that person's presence, or at least just be acknowledged by that person. But in retrospect, you are presenting a false version of yourself to get noticed by that person. And then what? Let's say that person notices you and then wants to keep a relationship with you or become friends with you, and then you are now forever tied to that false persona that you built just to get noticed by this person, that eventually ends up in a break from that relationship, because you eventually get tired of being something that you're not, or the fact that you are being fake will be realized by this person, and then that relationship will just dissipate, maybe even worse, to the point where that person is disappointed in you. And now that you held that person so up high, the person you held on a pedestal now is disappointed in you and wants nothing to do with you. That's almost worse than that person never knowing you at all. And I just kind of caught myself doing that, like trying to do things that I think that person would notice, do things that I think that person would be interested in, because I want to be in that person's atmosphere. Your unlived life is such a huge tragedy. We're so scared to do anything that falls outside the realm of what's considered normal, and it's an amazing ability that so few people have, to be themselves at the expense of everything else around them. regardless of what anything has to do with the world around them. They are themselves regardless. And that is an amazing, impressive trait that so small so like the percentage of the population is just so small. I My whole life I've wanted very much to be I've had this strong attraction to singing in metal music. Like the singers and metal groups that I've liked since my teenage years, I have this strong attraction to that. I don't think that there would be anything better in the world than being one of those singers who just has that direct outlet from mental, emotional, spiritual to physical life. When you see those musicians that really move you, who are so passionate, and you can see every word that they sing, you can feel that emotion because it just emanates off them physically. It's just a physical, cathartic expression of what's going on inside them. And that has so much appeal to me. Like I wanted to be Randy Blythe from Lamb of God my whole life. He's just so intense, and his emotions are just amplified when he sings, and it's not fake. It's this literal, it's just this literal path from his spiritual self, his emotional self, his mental self to physical being. And I think that I would be very entertaining. I think I would be very motivational. Like my ability to transfer emotions and feelings in my spirit physically, I think I would be very good at that, and it has so much appeal to me. But on the other side, my insecurity of what people would think completely trumps that desire. And I don't know what it would take, honestly. I don't know what it would take, honestly, to be able to bridge that, like to just to get past that hurdle. I don't know what it would be. The insecurity of the judgment from people who would see it, and more so from who would see it on the way up, like when I would, if I would for like first start to try to learn how to sing. And then it's just that process, the fear of being judged during that process is just so significant. It completely dwarfs any desire. I don't know what it would take to bridge that. Honestly, I don't know what it would take. Another thing is I've wanted long dreadlocks like my whole life. I've wanted long dreadlocks, but I'm so paranoid about what people would think. Strangers, people I see on the street, or when I go to pick my daughter up, or if I go to parent teacher conferences, or if I go to my daughter's piano recital. I feel like what complete strangers have to think about me is so important that I have to cater to that. And the ridiculous part is, these people have no influence on my life. There's no significance to these people that I may never even see again. I give so much power to these people who have no influence on my life because I am so scared of their judgment. It's not as if someone who sees me with my 9-year-old daughter at her piano recital and sees me with dreadlocks and piercings and tattoos, dressing the way I want to dress, and that is somehow going to affect the bills I pay. That's going to affect my job. Like for somehow I'm going to lose my job because this person is going to somehow find my boss and say, you need to fire that guy, or it's going to affect the relationship with my wife, or it's going to affect, it's just, you give so much power, it's ridiculous. You give so much power to these people who have no power over you whatsoever. I will never see a lot of those people again, and those people's opinions of me will not affect the things that mean the most to me in my life. They won't affect my family, they won't affect my marriage, they won't affect my job, it won't affect my income, it won't affect it would literally affect nothing, but I give so much power to them. People who are completely powerless, I give them all the power in the world. And that's it's another one of those things, like your unlived life is the biggest, it's just the biggest tragedy of them all. And the fact that so many of us will die never being ourselves is just a massive tragedy. And finding a way to be able to say, being myself is not offensive to other people. And if it is offensive to other people, it's their insecurities with what I am doing. And as long as I'm not hurting anybody, as long as I'm stealing, as long as I'm not creating physical, mental, emotional harm to other people with me being myself, there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that we give so much power to powerless people is an extreme hindrance on us, and there needs to be a way that we can be ourselves, unfiltered, look the way we want to look, talk the way we want to eat the way we want to look, or eat the way we want to eat, look the way we want to look, talk the way we want to talk. We need to figure that out before it's too late. So many of us won't. And I'm sitting here knowing what the right thing to do is, but not knowing how to do it. Through this whole process of trying to figure this out, I will do my best to provide examples. If I find ways to crack the code, I will absolutely share those processes, and hopefully we don't die with an unlived life.